And welcome to Hero Power. I'm your host, Avanties, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Zerotio.
I hope everybody had a good holiday, and we've brought a wonderful, holiday gift with us this week.
That's right. We went out to the community and we tried to find the best gift we could find for you guys. And joining us tonight, we have the one, the only, Mr. GuyGrumpy. Welcome,
Hey
sir.
everyone. Thank you. Much love. Much love. Sorry if you were expecting an iPad or something, but hopefully I'll fit in just as well.
Oh man, we are excited to have you. We've ever
I'm
since
excited to be here.
we first started talking about having you on the show. This was something we were really looking forward to. So let's just kind of jump right into it. We don't have any emails this week or any new iTunes reviews, so we can just jump right to the meat of this. So, Guy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into Hearthstone streaming?
So I've been playing Hearthstone since it came out, general release. I wasn't part of the beta program or anything, unfortunately. Missed out on a couple of gold cards because of that. But have, in the last 3 years, maybe started playing a bit more competitively, trying to get up to rank 5 consistently. I got into streaming just as a technical interest where I had the equipment and I wanted to see what else I could do with it. And streaming just came up as a natural progression. Gave it a little bit of a try last year. Didn't really stick, but this year I wanted to make more of a focus on it. So in February, I started streaming in earnest and really finding out about Twitch, getting out to other people's channels. I met a bunch of people that way that have helped me, inspire me to do the streaming myself. And I feel like I've been building a pretty good community around it, both from, I'm probably better known for my contributions in other people's streams, from hanging out chat, dropping bits and gifted subs and things like that, but also have become known as the guy with all the dust and doing giveaways and playing with viewers, things like that. So it's been a bit of fun time.
That just blows my mind that you've only been streaming since February. It feels like you've been around forever. Like I've always heard, the GuyGrumpy stream, hanging out with GuyGrumpy, going to watch Guy. I mean, so many people in the Hearthstone community know you and are part of your community. It just feels like you've been around longer than since not even been a year. That blows my mind.
Yeah, and honestly, the first 3 months were pretty barren, where I don't think I had a name either. One of the catalysts was I joined the F2K Comnet community and met with a lot of streamers there and supported them in various ways, which brought a lot of attention to me. So it's been a good ride. I'm actually now an ambassador for F2K Comnet, so if you have
awesome.
other people that are interested in streaming, definitely have them reach out, and we'll get them on the path.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. We've had some other F2K members on the show, like Pear.
Yep.
She's great. But no, we love the F2K community. They're all great people doing great things for the game. So yeah, you mentioned it. The guy with all the dust. How goes the quest for 1,000,000 dust?
That's crazy.
I am over 800,000 now, so I'm expecting the third set next year to reach the million dust point, or the 1,000,000 dust, one of my emotes. So should be a fun stream. I have some big plans for that.
So here's a question. When you hit 1,000,000 dust, what happens then? Are you just going to make as many golden cards as you can, or what are you going to do?
So I'm also pretty well known for having a lot of golden cards. In fact, the deck that we'll be playing today is all golden.
Wow.
But my goal is to then craft everything, or at least one copy of every card in gold in the classic set, and then finish out some of the other decks that I've been playing at the time. I want to save some of it because obviously that's a lot of dust, and it needs to last for a few expansions anyway. But yeah, we'll push the button, have some fun with it, and then craft a golden classic set.
And because you're on the quest for 1,000,000 dust, have you ever crafted anything? Is this one of these things that you
have?
So you have. So this hasn't been a religious no crafting at all. So this is going to be really a 1,000,000+ dust because you've actually used some of it.
Yeah, it's actually more 1,000,000 dust button. So every time the nerfs come out, then I'll dust all of those to make sure I can make these golden decks, because it is more fun to play with gold, and I think viewers appreciate that extra attention. Not all of the decks that I play are golden, but when I can, I do.
That's awesome. Oops, sorry about that.
Yeah, there we go. My mic decided all of a sudden it just didn't want to unmute. So
yeah, I was wondering what's going on. Anyways, one question I have is, obviously you talked about your stream, which is at GuyGrumpy on Twitch. What type of schedule do you have? Do you have a set schedule that people can find you over there?
I do. So I stream on Tuesday afternoons at 5:30 Pacific time, on Thursday evenings at 10 p.m. Pacific time, and most Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific time. That Sunday date or Sunday time might change to be a little bit earlier to help bring in some more of my European friends who complain that I stream too late for them. Otherwise, we'll see going into the new year. But usually it's 3 days a week: Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and that will be up to date on my Twitch page in the panels below.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed. Is I primarily watch Twitch at work when it's slow, and I watch during the day. And the European contingent and a lot of these streamers that I watch in the United States is huge. I mean, so many people in Europe just sit and watch Twitch at home once they've gotten off work. So that's a huge market. So anytime you can accommodate the European viewers is definitely good for your community.
Yeah, for sure.
I
and
can
you
only
see that
imagine
reflected in the global games.
We've tried to do shows at alternate times to try to incorporate that European, and we're on the East Coast of the U.S., so we have a 3-hour lead on you. Rolling back an additional 3 hours on the West Coast, man, that seems rough, because you're either having to stream like really early in the morning to hit their like late afternoon period.
I've been fortunate that the community has been so supportive that they get up early for me. Okay. So my Thursday stream is very populated by my European friends that get up and are getting ready for work and hang out with me for a couple hours there. So
that's awesome.
I do appreciate them. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so that's something else that the GuyGrumpy community has really become known for, is the much love mantra. How did that come about, and when did you really start that as being your, Zerotio has his don't forget to use your hero power, but GuyGrumpy is known for the much love. Like how did that come about?
Honestly, it was not something that I had planned. It's just something that kind of happened. And it was when I went into other people's streams that had been in my stream, and they started doing it to me, that I realized it was something that I should promote a little bit more. I try to stay very positive in my streams and not get too down or too salty. So just a reminder to everyone that we should approach things with a love first philosophy and compassion rather than anger and hate. So
that's
it's awesome. Just a good reminder.
That is.
Yeah, that's definitely something I've noticed in when we cross in chat rooms for our various streaming communities that we're both part of. Your positivity is just through the roof, and it definitely shows. I know we first met from Venga Dragon, who was a guest on the show before, and you've just impressed me by your level of positivity and just willingness to just kind of add to the community instead of take away from it.
Yeah, well, thank you. I definitely try. Community first for me, always. That's why we do so much playing with viewers. Since I maintain a full set of cards, wild and standard, then I let viewers provide deck codes in stream and play against me. And we put up a queue of people. It sometimes means that I don't progress as fast on ladder, but it gives me a lot of practice, and I think it lets people know if they should craft a certain deck or wait until the meta settles a little bit.
That's awesome.
And hopefully it helps.
Speaking of the meta, we'll go ahead and get into our next news spot. Is the Nerfs rolled out on December the 19th. Now, we didn't do a show last week.
That's right.
So
our last show was on the 15th because of the way the Christmas holiday fell this year. And so the Nerfs dropped shortly after our last show. So, Zerotio, why don't you tell them what happened exactly while we were gone?
Yeah, so we did a lot of speculation on our last episode 2 weeks ago about what we thought would be nerfed, and we had a lot of ideas, and some of it got touched, but quite a bit of it did not. Corrupt Elementalist went to 6 mana up from 5. Sludge Slurper went to 1 attack down from 2. Faceless Corruptor went to 4 attack down from 5. And Mogu Flesh Shaper went to 9 mana, up from 7. And then there were also some Battlegrounds nerfs, most impactful being Nightmare Amalgam's now out of the pool, and Brand Bronzebeard, the hero, is removed. But we've had some time to play with these nerf cards for a little over a week now. Do you think they did enough? And on top of that, do you think these nerfs, are well, how's the meta been to you since these nerfs?
Been to who? Me or Guy?
Either one. We'll let our guest go first, Guy.
So it's definitely had an impact. We've seen it used to be nothing but the Galacron Shaman, right? I mean, it was everywhere and super pervasive. It's done enough to bring the win rates up for other classes where maybe we're seeing some other problems coming into effect, but it seems like the meta's really calmed down and given you at least a chance to play something else. The deck itself is still very good. I don't think that it broke the deck too significantly, just brought it down maybe a couple percentage points so that you can experiment.
Yeah, I think it's the Galacron Shaman is still technically a tier 1 deck, or so it was within the first few days. I think it might have dropped into tier 2. But the win percentage only went down by maybe 3-4%. It's still keeping it at a solid win rate.
I think a lot of people were shocked that the Shaman version of Galacron itself wasn't touched. I think the fact that these changes affected the other cards in that deck really surprised a lot of people. Because, a lot of the talk pre-nerf was, well, maybe the Galacron procs should be 1/1s, 3/3s, 5/5s, or maybe they should top out at 4/4s instead of 8/8s. There was a lot of talk about nerfing Galacron himself, and then nothing. The changes actually came to the support cards in that deck, and I just was really surprised, and I think a lot of the community was really surprised that that's the way Blizzard decided to affect change. But as Guy just said, I think it's really worked to help make some of those other decks viable.
Well, I agree with you that it's surprising that that's the path they took. But Dean Ayala did come to Twitter, and he did say, while these are the initial nerfs, obviously they have the holiday coming up. They didn't want to do anything too terribly overbearing. They're looking to reevaluate it after the holiday. So we might still see a Galacron nerf. However, I'm kind of glad they didn't nerf Galacron, because Galacron's kind of like a staple headpiece of the set. And if they nerf Galacron, we don't get any dust refund because we were given those cards for free.
Right.
So it's not like we're going to get 1,600 dust for them nerfing Galacron. It'd just be a change. We don't get any benefit from it. At least with these Corrupt Elementalist, Sludge Slurper, these cards, if you chose to dust them, you can. But you don't have to. And with Corrupt Elementalist and Faceless Corruptor, I'm still opening those in packs. So I was getting full dust value from those. So that's nice to see that kind of change. And you wouldn't get a Galakron in a pack because, again, you got that for free. So I'm happy with these nerfs. I do hope they reevaluate the meta and see if nerfs are needed. As of right now, I don't necessarily think that nerfs are needed too much. Just kind of taking a glance at HS Replay, if you look on their meta page, they have quite a few different decks in Tier 1. You can actually play you can play Warrior, Priest, Hunter, Warlock, all 4 of those classes. There's 5 Tier 1 decks, 2 of which are Warrior. But there's 4 different unique classes in Tier 1 right now, only separated by just over 1% of win rate. So that tells me that's a balanced meta. Not to mention, you go down into Tier 2, the lowest Tier 2 win rate's 50.29, where the highest Tier 1's 54.65. That's less than a 5% differential between the bottom of Tier 2 and the top of Tier 1. To me, that's a balanced meta. You don't even get below 50% until you get into Tier 3. And to me, and there's a lot of decks, too, across all classes. I don't want to say it's the most balanced that I've seen the meta, because last year, just before Rusticon's Rumble, to me, that was the most balanced. But this is very close. I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with where the meta is at the moment, too. We were kind of talking in the pre-show about how we're seeing more variety, and you know, I'm up in the mid-teens, around 14 right now, and I've been playing Warlock, and I'm seeing Hunter, I'm seeing Mage, I'm seeing Paladin, I'm seeing all kinds of Druid. I'm seeing all these different classes, and not just seeing the same thing over and over again. Guy, what's it look like for you? Because you're right around rank 1, aren't you? So what's the meta look like for you there?
Well, I've dropped to 5 since the beginning of the month, but yeah, it's still diverse. I would say I'm seeing more hunters than anything. Hunters and rogues are dominating the lower parts of rank 5. I think that's where people do more try-harding to improve their rank, especially towards the end of the season like this. But you do still see some people trying out Priest, which is actually kind of refreshing since they've been missing from the meta for so long. You still see some of the Shaman. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Zerotio, what have you been seeing when you've been playing?
So I'm looking at my my list, my data here for the most played deck that I have right now, which is my Galakron Warrior. I'm 44 and 33 with about a 57% win rate. I've been around the rank 2, rank 1 spot, and I've seen all 9 classes pretty consistently. Wow. The least being Paladin. Paladin's kind of low, and then Druid's a bit low too. But that's 7 of the 9 classes that I'm seeing, a decent percentage, at least 5% of the games and above with. So, and that's a pretty decent sample size. The meta is very fluctuating. Plus, I'm playing a lot of classes that you would only expect one type of archetype. But Hunter, I've seen Face Hunter, I've seen Highlander Secret Hunter, I've seen Highlander Mech Hunter, I've seen a Dragon Hunter. And that goes across all the various classes too. Druid right now is a little bit everywhere with the Embiggen, and then people are still trying out Malagos. So I'm just happy. Is it tough on the ladder right now? Yes, because it's hard to predict who you're going to play. So therefore, it's hard to predict what deck to play because you might not have a high win rate. I know for a while I was literally split between playing the same amount of games against a class I did well against, and then the same amount of games with the class I lost to. So that is difficult, but it's fun. So I like that.
And with the variants in decks too, it's hard to know what to mulligan for because you don't know if you're playing a tree druid or a dragon druid or the Embiggen druid or things like that too. So it's made it really interesting and entertaining.
Yeah, I mean my kind of stalwart rule that I stick by is always mulligan for aggro if the other class has an aggro strategy. So if I see a warrior, I always mulligan for pirate warrior. If it happens to be Galakron warrior mirror or a control warrior, I got time to make up for the variance in my draw. But if you don't aggressively mulligan for against aggro, they will just beat you.
Yeah, I want to real quick say thank you to Mike Lowe in the chat for the host. We greatly appreciate it, sir. Yeah, so there was also some, besides just the meta, there was some changes to Battlegrounds. We're going to have all of those changes in our show notes, but probably the most impactful of those changes was the removal of Nightmare Amalgam from the minion pool. Because Nightmare Amalgam was really one of the base cards people were building their strategies around, and it allowed you to be able to fluctuate different directions. And now you've got to make a decision a little sooner about how you're going to go, and or hope that the pool is not too oversaturated, that you can get the cards you need with Nightmare Amalgam being out of the pool. Zerotio, have you been playing a bit of Battlegrounds lately? Have you noticed a big swing in this?
Yeah, I've noticed a big swing in my ability to play Battlegrounds well. So my main strategy was always go after, like Tice says, go after the amalgams. You want to get those amalgams as early as possible. That was my strategy. So I was getting 7 and 8s left and right. So I started I changed my strategy to pick 1 or 2 minion types and kind of stick to that strategy. But if you can get up to 5 and you see the Light Forge, the one that gives buffs to all different minion types, if you can get him, which you can more often now because nobody's grabbing them because there's no amalgams to pull from unless you're playing the curator. So if you can get him, then you can actually just cherry pick which beast you want, which mech you want, which Murloc you want. And because other players are likely picking one type, they're not necessarily taking all of those minions. You kind of get a little bit here and there as the game goes on. So it takes a little bit more finesse in this new Battlegrounds meta. I didn't think there'd be a new Battlegrounds meta this early in its existence, but I find it more challenging now than it was before. And it rewards good choices early on in the game instead of getting lucky.
Okay, Guy, have you been playing Battlegrounds? Have you?
I honestly haven't been playing it as much as I did when it first came out, but when I do, I have noticed the same thing, and my win percentage has gone way down, and I'm more likely to finish 6th through 8th than 1st through 4th anymore. But for sure, the amalgam has made it more difficult to set things up, and a lot of the menagerie cards that would give bonuses to things were hurt by that because there's no dragons unless you're the curator. Yeah. So you're only hitting two. You're only hitting 2 minions at most anymore. So it's kind of changed the way that I look at it. And like Zerotio said, I try to pick a little bit earlier, make wiser choices of what survives early. I think that's why we've seen Murlocs kind of take off as well. That just having access to early Murlocs that can survive lead to more strategies that can take advantage of them later.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we've seen Murlocs and mechs kind of rise to the top while beasts and demons have kind of been left behind.
Well, you say that, but demon builds lately have been very popular, mainly because everybody's been going after the mechs and the Murlocs again. So it's leaving the demons just up for grabs. So I've been playing a lot of games where I just get trounced by demon builds. Demon is a viable option, but you really can't go demon if anybody else is going demon.
Okay.
If you see a Jiraxis in your pool, just don't go demon because he's going to take them all.
Okay. Nice. So yeah, that pretty much covers all the nerfs that hit back on the 19th. Like I said, we'll have all those changes linked in our show notes. So if you guys want to check those out, it's heropowerhs.com is the website. Where you can see all of the shows and all of our show notes and links to everything we're talking about. Also, while we were away, we crowned a Hearthstone Global Games champion. Yeah. And this year saw Denmark defeat the United Kingdom 3-2. Zerotio, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I didn't get to watch a lot of these finals, but I pretty much ended with the holidays coming up. I stopped watching it so much, just too busy with family. But I just assumed United Kingdom had just been running away with the season. They've been just trouncing everybody, a lot of 3-0 victories. They've just been really, really solid. So I just assumed United Kingdom was going to go to the finals and they're going to win it all. But Freddie B and Fury Hunter, who had a very solid season but not a spectacular season, brought it to United Kingdom and took it 3-2. And they probably had the most consistent play of all of the global games. I don't want to say season, because it was more like just a elongated tournament series is the way they changed the format to. So I'm really excited to see these two, because they've both been really on the cusp of Grandmaster level play, and I hope this kind of catapults them possibly into some Grandmaster contendership, especially with Fury Hunter, because Fury Hunter has just been, balls out, one of the best players in Europe, probably for the past two to 3 years.
So Ducharmo in chat says Global Games was not on the radar that much this season. Is it just that I'm not listening to the right place, but I didn't hear much about it? Well, the answer is no. Honestly, they didn't really push Global Games as hard as they have in the past. In the past, they had teams of 4 or 5 players, and this year it was just teams of 2 representing the countries, and they cut that list of countries down by almost half this year.
Yeah, and furthermore, they kind of did it during a weird off season from Grandmasters during holiday season. So I wish they would have done it even during Grandmasters or during a different off season, maybe between seasons 1 and 2 instead of at the end of season 2.
And I don't think they did the choose a champion either, which is another way that they have done, spurred up interest this time around. This time around, it was completely missing.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And Ducharmo follows that up with, do we think that is a bad sign for Hearthstone esports? So my thoughts on Hearthstone esports are at this point in time are that it's not where it was a couple of years ago. And I'm sure opinions may vary between people you ask, but as an innkeeper, as someone who has run events at the championship level, the interest in Hearthstone esports is not what it used to be, because your player base has been whittled down to a handful of players who are getting to compete at the highest level. Do I think Grandmasters was a mistake? Not necessarily. Do I think Blizzard shot themselves in the foot by only limiting it to 45 players? Yes, probably. In the week and a half that we've been gone, we've seen some major names in the Hearthstone pro scene put out tweets saying that they're moving on. For instance, Centilal, one of the most prolific German players, is no longer going to be playing Hearthstone, and that's a huge loss.
Well, specifically, he's not going to be competing. He did say he's still going to consider playing Hearthstone, and he may occasionally do some open cups, but he is not going to compete at the level he's competed, at all. And some of the pro players are saying, I can't compete because there's not enough return on investment, but I'm still playing the game because I like Hearthstone. So that at least is showing something. Maybe if the esports system changes and gets better, then at that time they may still be playing enough that they can just jump back in. And that would be good for the fan base like me. Mm-hmm. I tell you, here's my opinion on when Hearthstone esports took the dive and basically fell apart. When Checho left. Che left and everything fell apart. I don't know if he was the glue or what, but once he left and they passed the reins to somebody, I don't even know the guy's name, everything fell apart.
Mike Lowe in chat says, so it's the esports system, not the game of Hearthstone, right?
Yes.
I agree with that statement. I believe it is the way Blizzard is handling the esports system and not the game. I feel like the game is in a really good place right now. Guy, would you agree that Hearthstone is in a pretty good place right now?
Yeah, I think it is. Unfortunately, there's a lot of negativity from the esports players because of the broken system there. The master system to grandmasters doesn't give a lot of opportunity to advance. But the game, since really in the last year, has been phenomenal, I think, with monthly updates and interesting cards that break things. Is the most fun I've had in Hearthstone in the 5 years that I've been playing. So
the thing that happened was Hearthstone esports went to Blizzard events instead of these feeder events held by other companies like DreamHack. And because support to things like DreamHack and WSG and all these other feeder tournaments that fed into the Hearthstone esports by Blizzard, since they were pretty much cut loose and told you can't run your events, then all the community around Hearthstone esports went away because a lot of your players liked going to these live events that weren't necessarily hosted by Blizzard. They were hosted by other companies that fed into the Blizzard esports. So you got to have lunch with Ant and Dr. J, and you get to shake hands with Amnesiac, and you get to compete side by side with these top level players. And also the sponsors like this because they got to see their players out competing on these streams for DreamHack and WSG and Red Bull Esports and all these different tournaments. Geico had one. So once all those feeder tournaments went away and everything was being ran just by Blizzard and they didn't do a lot of these live events, sponsorships started dropping out. And if sponsorships are dropping out, these pro players can't afford to go to these tournaments, and everything's done online now. A sponsor's not going to pay you to sit in your underwear at your house and play in a tournament.
Yeah, and you see that with even Fury Hunter recently posted that he's looking for a new team, and he just won the Global Games, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I'm not going to say I'm like Brian Kibler level when it comes to understanding collectible card games and trading card games, but I personally have been playing TCGs and CCGs, and I know Zerotio's in the same boat. He's since the mid-'90s. I know Guy is an old-school Magic the Gathering player. We all probably have between the three of us, 60 or 70 years worth of collectible card game experience. I'm just saying, I've played a lot of card games. I've played Shadowverse. I've played I've played Elder Scrolls Legends, which, if you haven't heard, is being discontinued. Yep. I've played Artifact. The only one I haven't played yet that's getting ready to come out is Runeterra, because I haven't gotten into the beta yet. But I've played all these games, guys, and Hearthstone just does everything so much better, and it feels like it's on a whole other level than these other games.
I agree because Hearthstone embraces the digital aspect, but still keeps to the collectible card game feel. Obviously, Artifact very much embraced the digital aspect, but then they played cards like a MOBA, and it just didn't translate very well to competitive side. I played competitively in multiple card games, including Hearthstone as well as in Magic the Gathering. I was on a pro tour for 2 years. So I just want to see a system that rewards the players for playing. And right now, the Master System does not reward the players for playing. Not enough. You literally have to win and only win a tournament in your region, and then you might get into the Grandmasters. And that's it.
Yeah. Mike Lowe says, wait, Elder Scrolls is being discontinued? I'm sorry you had to find out this way. I'm sorry for your loss. Yeah. So, all right, guys. That pretty much is going to cover most of that. This week's Tavern Brawl is a repeat. It's a fun one. The New Year Bash. The party is here. Work together with another player to decorate the tavern and kick off a New Year's party. So obviously you have to use your hero power to get 25 decorations, and then you have to defeat the pinata, which has like 80 health, I think. So it's a fun little fight, and pretty easy to get a pack. So I enjoyed it.
I like this here. I like this Tavern Brawl mainly because you can't forget to use your hero power or you will not win. So it definitely sticks to me. I had a lot of fun with it. I always like these seasonal ones anyways. Did you have a chance to jump into this one, Guy?
Yeah, absolutely. And because it's co-op, my girlfriend just started playing, so it was an easy way that we could play together and not have her feel overwhelmed. So we've probably played it a dozen times now and beat the pinata. And so we've been having a lot of fun with it.
That's awesome.
All right. So that's going to bring us, that's going to wrap up the news portion of the show. That's going to bring us to this week's deck analysis. And this week's deck was provided by none other than our very special guest, Mr. GuyGrumpy himself. I have put the deck list up on the left side of the screen. It is a Dragon Reno Mage deck, which I have to say I was really excited about, because that's one of the things I was most excited with this new set was the reintroduction of dragons into the environment, because while there have been a few, this set really gave us some fun stuff to play with, and I'm a big Reno fan anyway from back in the day, so I love Highlander decks. I'll run down the deck list real quick, and then I'll kind of turn it over to Guy to talk about the deck, how it plays, and a little bit of his thoughts on it in whole. So obviously everything is a single copy as it's Highlander. You've got Arcane Breath, Ray of Frost, Doomsayer, Fire Tree Witch Doctor, Frostbolt, Zephyrus the Great, Arcane Intellect, Frost Nova, Scale Rider, Azure Explorer, Evasive Feywing, Frizz Kindle Roost, Polymorph, Scale Worm, the Big Ol' Whelp, I love that card, Blast Wave, Cobalt Spellkin, Malagos Aspect of Magic, Rolling Fireball, Ziliax, Blizzard, Dragoncaster, Kartut Defender, Reno the Relicologist, Luna's Pocket Galaxy, Twin Tyrant, Alexstrasza, and Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, Caligos, and the Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron. So, Guy, where did this crazy thing come from?
Obviously, with the Descent of Dragons, everybody was thinking, we need to play with some dragons. So I was looking for something fun, and Mage was my first class that I got good with, first class that I reached rank 5 with, that I built my own deck and got that high with. So, and that was back in the Classic set. So I was really excited to put some dragons together. It's also something that Venga Dragon and I have been talking about for a while is Dragon Mage. So we've kind of been talking back and forth about a few different options that we have there. I really had thrown in a bunch of dragons and then filled in the rest of it from there. I wanted to play as many dragons as I could. So I went with the Highlanders so that they could be different ones. And it just kind of evolved from there. You'll see some that aren't in the majority of the lists that you'll see for the Dragon Mage, mostly because I was running into some problems and I wanted to keep some of the bigger dragons like the twin tyrant in it, just because I like the artwork and things like that. So we put in some stuff that will help me survive the early game until we can get to those big dragons and let Dragon Queen Alexstrasza and Caligos take over. But when we run into problems, we always have the puzzle box that we can fall back on for the memes and still have fun with the deck. It has it's done fairly well. The nerfs hit it kind of hard because it made more aggro decks key again. It did pretty well against the Galakron Shaman because we have enough removal, but we'll probably run into some problems with some aggro, and it's been running about 46% win rate for me. There's 9 dragons in the deck still, though, so we'll still be able to draw into our activators and things like that.
Yeah, I really like this deck. A lot of it is there's just so many 2-card punches. There's a lot of different combos you can pull in. Obviously, being able to reduce all of your dragons down with Frizz is great, but if you don't draw Frizz till late and you Luna's Pocket Galaxy first, then you play Frizz, then all your dragons are free. So that actually, the sequencing isn't – a lot of things that hurt Highlander decks is sequencing. If you get one card before the other, then that other card's dead. But this Mage deck really has a lot of good comparisons that work together. I had one game where I actually was able to pull off 2 puzzle boxes in one turn.
Yep.
Somehow, and I don't remember how, my puzzle box got reduced down to 9 mana. I can't remember how it happened.
So,
but
it was probably the Caligos gave you a free one, and he was free because you played the Luna's Pocket Galaxy first, and then Dragon Caller for the one that you discovered from him.
That might have been it. But I was able to play one, and then I was able to play the Dragon Caller, and then play the other one for free. Yeah. And so I got 2 in one game, ridiculous. and it gave me the first one didn't give me lethal. The second one gave me lethal. So it was like,
nice.
I mean, I pretty much had the game. Well, I guess I didn't really. I think I would have lost the next turn regardless. That's why I went ahead and did it. Right. But you can just pull some stuff out. And Rolling Fireball is really, really good in the meta right now because there's a lot of wide board decks out there when you're looking at Hunter or especially Shaman right now. And to be able to just roll over all of them is just clutch.
Indeed.
Yeah. So what do you find is the best and worst matchups for this deck?
The best matchups, probably any of the Warlocks that I've run into, just because they're hurting themselves and they're not sure what to expect here. I can get past taunts with a variety of ways and push through for that final damage. Worst has been the Face Hunter because I just don't have enough clears for those, although hopefully I've fixed that a little bit in the last few days and we'll be able to get to the big dragons late.
Okay.
Yeah, I've played 5 games and I went 1-4, but every game felt like if I'd done something differently, I might have been able to pull it off. So I think it's more my execution of the deck than the deck itself. So I'm really excited to watch you play this and see how it's done.
Well, you might see that you play it better, but we're hoping for a couple of wins here. I don't want to be completely shut out.
There you go. All right. Well, that's going to pretty much do it for us this week. Guy, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and give them all your social media platforms where they can find you, and hit us again with your schedule for streaming.
Sure thing. So thanks again for having me on. My Twitch handle is just GuyGrumpy, so twitch.tv/GuyGrumpy. You can also find me directly on GuyGrumpy.tv. That'll take you to my Twitch channel. I'm most active on Twitter, so it's twitter.com/GuyGrumpy. And my stream schedule is Tuesdays at 5:30 Pacific time until about 8:30 Pacific time. Thursdays from 10 p.m. Pacific time until midnight, and Sundays from 1 p.m. until I'm tired.
All right. If you're joining us on Twitch or YouTube, please stay tuned as we are going to go check out this deck in the live play portion of our show. If you are listening via our audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast. You can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOGamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show, you'd like to help support and improve it, you can do so by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/HeroPower. You can also get access to our patron-only Discord for as little as $1 a month. We'll see you all again next week.
Much love, and don't forget to use your hero power.
Thanks, Zerotio.
Alrighty.
Alrighty.
I think I sent you a friend request through battle.net. I sent it to your email. I hope that's the one you use. If not, I invited some random person with your name.
You must have invited some random person. I'm not seeing it there.
Okay.
So.
All right.
I did put the battle tag in Discord.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Let
Let me
me
pull up Discord real quick.
Oh, for Avanties, yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay.
already had you friends because we're buddies. So
Right.
even though I forgot I had you out here, I was like, I'm surprised I don't have you. And I was like, oh wait, no, I do have you. Never mind.
got it. Let me fire over an invite right now. Send. Done. And while that's
Accepted.
going, I will pull up Hearthstone. And we'll get to see this deck in action.
Wow. Sorry if you heard some sirens. I think every emergency vehicle just drove by my house at the same time.
What did you do,
have a great filter.
Zerotio?
I don't know. No, I hit mute pretty quick. I do have this homemade filter.
All right. Are we ready?
Still waiting on Hearthstone to load on my end.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. That's actually a Hearthstone. Okay. Oh, I'm getting an echo now.
Yeah, I am too.
Let's see. Maybe that. Testing.
Let's see. Nope, I think we're good now.
Okay.
All
right. So, yeah, go ahead and queue up and we will get into this and see this deck in action. I have the deck list up on the right-hand side for the people at home. So.
All right. We found a worthy opponent.
All right.
Oh, wow. One swing on the spectate boss. That's awesome. Ooh, we got Druid. See, this is what I'm saying. You're seeing lots of diversity in the meta right now, and Druid is definitely playable.
All right, so tell us, Guy, what we're looking for in a mulligan with this deck.
So here, the mulligan really matters versus what you're playing against. Because I have Malagos, and that's a good activator for the Fire Tree Witch Doctor, I'm going to keep both of those, but get rid of the Twin Tyrant. I'm thinking I'm going to keep the Rolling Fireball just in case it's trees instead of the dragons, because that will help me clear up the wide board earlier and hopefully prevent him from building them too big.
I like the Fireball since we have coin. I do like that call. Though I have learned in this matchup, Twin Tyrant's not bad.
It's not.
Late game, obviously.
Yeah. I know that people give a lot of grief over the Twin Tyrant, that he's way too slow and doesn't have the stats to back it up, but the prevailing wisdom is to put Fire Blast in to counter that. But I don't know, I just like him. I like his art.
I think it's a good card. I like the Twin Tyrant.
Also, just to show off, so that because we had talked about it in the pregame, but don't think we mentioned it here. We're running an all gold deck, so we get the gold coin.
Yeah, definitely. That is
it's
awesome.
So pretty.
My gold game is definitely slacking compared to yours. I have started keeping my gold cards. Pretty much started this year. I think I did it at Rosticons. I do like the fire tree here. It contests well and ooh.
The Flame Strike is so good for later, but I'm kind of leaning toward the counter spell.
Does this new version have a lot
earlier.
of spells?
It still has a lot of spells. I think I just replaced, or the new version of the Druid.
Yes.
I think that they still buff them, but I'm not sure.
I don't hate the counter spell.
This is dragons. So they'll have the one that draws a card if they have a dragon, and gives them a mana and things like that. So
that's fair. If he has that in his hand, he'd likely play it now.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine he would have played the fairy dragon if he did. If
he didn't have the activator.
Yeah, if he didn't have another activator. I do like just trotting the counterspell here. What do you think?
I like that as well. That's what I was moving towards here. And then we can follow that up with a variety of things next turn.
Oh, definitely. Do you trade off?
Want to get rid of. I think I do. Just because I can't target it. So even though the rolling fireball can still roll in to clear it, if he's already playing a 3/4, I'm going to guess he's going to have another 4 health minion to back that up. So
that's fair.
It really plays more control-y at the front end, and then when you get the dragons out, that's when you start going face. At least that's what I found.
Okay. Yeah, I pretty much stayed control-y, and maybe I didn't go face enough. I didn't flip well enough.
Yeah, it's sometimes hard to pull that trigger.
Yeah, the one game I did win was off the back of puzzle box. 2 puzzle boxes.
Well, 2 puzzle boxes is a really good. It could be really good or really bad, I guess.
Yeah,
I have really good luck. That's why some of my emotes are RNG based, RNG Love and RNG King.
I just had to. I think in my game I had to come up with 4 damage, and I eventually did. So it worked out.
It's more about just staying alive, which can be very difficult.
He's contemplating this secret, or he is making him a hot pocket, getting a yoo-hoo. That might be what he's doing.
That could be. He's like, wait, I don't see that.
And I don't know if it's just the stability of people playing on mobile. I've had a lot of people go AFK or rope out like this, and then 2 or 3 turns they'll come back. I'm wondering if that's just been a common thing.
So here I'm really thinking of Malagos, but I'm not sure what I want from it at this point. Well, it's always tempting to take the big Fire Blast, but...
Do you mean a Flame Strike?
Or Flame Strike, yeah.
Yeah, I like that, especially in this matchup, if he comes back. I like the idea of having an 8 damage Flame Strike. Because that'll pretty much contest most dragons. Well, Malagos' Nova isn't terrible for setting up a 2-turn lethal.
That's true.
And Frostbolt the same too. But especially
it gives us more of that survivability. To get
and he's probably going to want to put some minions on the board if he ever comes back from the bathroom.
Well, hey, it looks like if he doesn't come back, we'll at least get the win, so I don't get shut out, right?
Yeah, exactly. We'll take it, right? Yeah, you have to remember Hearthstone is one of the most played mobile games. So if your opponent's roping, they might be wiping. You never know what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah, I think we just push damage face.
4 years of that joke, and it never gets old.
Nope, never gets old. And if you say it gets old, then
you're old.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I may be old, but I'm not as old as Zerotio.
That's right. I don't know if I've ever said a joke that hasn't ever gotten old.
So because we have an opponent that's just not here, it's extremely tempting to just puzzle box on this turn.
It is tempting, and I wouldn't blame you for it.
All right, we're gonna do it.
Which for the funds, right?
Yeah. Have to be entertaining, right?
That's right. What I got here? No, that's not bad. Okay, no beasts. Don't hate that. All right.
Oh, that's not so great.
No.
That kills my Zephyrus.
It does kill the Zephyrus. Oh, no. Him. Oh, well, he's healed again. Okay, that's good. Hey, now we're the tree druid. Tree it mage. Well,
I think that happened to me once before where it shuffled the worthless imps, but I didn't catch that it broke my Zephyrus because I didn't have it in hand at the time. So
he didn't go straight to rope, which makes me think he might be back.
Oh, great!
Because usually, if you have no activity, you'll just go straight to the rope.
Yeah,
right.
His hot pocket finished, and he got his yoo-hoo and came back downstairs.
And then he comes back to a turn 6 yard box. Like, what is what's this guy doing?
Who does that?
Well, I would say we might have Zephyrus into Bloodlust lethal, but A, we're overloaded, and B, our Zephyrus isn't active.
Right.
Do we just slam down the Kartut and go face?
Yeah, I think so. That'll heal us to full if he kills it completely, so. See, it's 100% deck.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there we go. Lethal.
Lethal. How about that? First
even
game,
when we tried to sabotage ourselves. And you know what? I really appreciate the exact lethal. That's the much love right there. You didn't push that extra damage. You just pinged his face.
Yeah, so some friends would say I need to go for max pain, but
that is
sometimes the math works out very well.
That's my favorite Venga Dragon emote is Max Pain.
Yeah.
Venga Dragon will get as much damage and lethal as he possibly can. He will calculate the maximum damage he can do in that turn.
Spend a couple minutes thinking about it even, just to make sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
yeah.
So we've got a hunter this time. How is our mulligan? Is our mulligan any different versus the hunter than it was versus the druid, or?
Not really. I'm gonna keep Frizz just because I think it'll help me push the dragons a little bit earlier. Against the druid, I probably would have kept a polymorph if I would have had it, but I wouldn't against the hunter because I tend to not have a lot of really big stuff that I need to worry about early. It's more for once they've completed their leper gnome quest or things like that. This is actually a pretty good hand. It should get me to where I can play some good stuff.
I do like keeping the Frostbolt, and getting the Zephyrus early isn't bad either, because if he gets a slow start, which he doesn't really have a real slow one.
I was going to say, what are your thoughts on Zephyrus on 2 for the ramp card?
Wild growth.
For the Wild growth?
What are your thoughts about doing that in a Highlander, as a Highlander?
I hadn't even considered that, because usually when I play Zephyrus on 2, I take the animal companion, but that's a good idea. With this hand,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that necessarily. Well, it gets me to.
Well, the biggest problem
It would
is
get you to
Ziliax
5.
earlier.
Yeah, if you played Wild Growth next turn, you would then be on 5 on turn 4. So
the only problem is Sharpshooter allows him to just snipe it.
yeah, that's true.
So I think we'll clear that, and then we have that with a Ray of Frost next turn.
Yeah. I think if he didn't play the Sharpshooter, there was merit to doing the Wild Growth play. But the fact that he had just a hero power to clear it.
Right. So now it's actually not bad to lose him to a snipe. And there's really nothing else to do. I don't know. I guess it might be early for them to run snipe, but what are the other options that they're really playing now? Misdirection and freezing trap or explosive trap. I don't see it being any of those.
Those are the three that I'm seeing normally, but I would rather the Zephyrus get hit by the snipe if it is a snipe. I didn't think of snipe at first instead of frizz, so that probably is the right play, is to play Zephyrus. Ooh.
Destroying his secret's actually not too shabby.
It's not too shabby. It keeps us from doing the frizz, but I don't hate that. And Flame Imp's also not bad.
That's true, because I can play him right now, unless that's an explosive trap.
True. Probably the Infiltrator then. Yeah. Oh, it is snipe. Good.
Okay. How about that?
So we know he's going to run other secret packages, so the Infiltrator is good to have, and we can play Frizz next turn without it getting sniped. Good call on that.
That's all luck.
That's so strong. Just hitting your Dragon Queen is enough to... Oh, so good.
Yeah, it is. And like you said, that snap on the Zephyrus was probably the best possible outcome of that secret. So,
right.
I was hoping he played a secret there instead of using hero power. Right. That would help our curve. Well, Doomsayer's not bad.
He's not. He slows him down just enough, but...
Do we couple the Ray of Frost on the Leok just to give 2 less damage that can clear the Doomsayer?
I think so. Although, what other rushes would he have at this point?
Yeah, I mean, another Spring Paw wouldn't be enough. He'd be 1 damage short.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Another Animal Companion would be the only thing that maybe punishes that. If we left it up, left it unfrozen. So, I suspect this is probably a Hero Power Secret Pass or Hero Power Pass.
Faceless Corruptor.
Well played.
Oh, right into Reno.
How about that? Sometimes you just have to get lucky, right?
That's right.
Welcome to Hero Power, where we top deck answers all day long.
That's right. Yeah, we are king. We are definitely very popular for our top decks right on the show, or calling our top decks.
Hero Power Top Deck Edition, right?
Is this just a ping pass?
I
mean, there's merit to having Ziliax out there. What's he going to do that's spell-based in this list? I think everything he has would be rush. So we would heal off of it.
Is he running whatever it's called, that the spell that 3 mana destroy a minion?
Deadly Shot?
Deadly shot.
He might run a deadly shot, but then
you don't
then
usually see that in the rush minion.
You're not
package.
But if he does run deadly shot, then that's a deadly shot he doesn't use on a Calicos, on an Alexstrasza, a Twin Tyrant.
That's true.
So I'd be happy if he took this turn to deadly shot, to be honest. But I think he's got a rush minion in his face into it, which does damage and heals us.
And heals us, yeah, exactly.
There's a secret. This is probably freezing.
Oh! There's two.
Well, you only get one.
I get one. Bummer. Let's get the good one. So what would we want? Which one do we want to take, do you suppose?
We want to destroy the freezing trap. Because we're okay if we hit explosive trap. I don't think he's running misdirection.
Yes!
There you go. Freezing trap. Now we're free to go face.
Okay,
nice.
Was it?
I'm kind of tempted to do the Arcane Intellect to draw into some dragons or dragon packages.
Yeah.
Although that is obviously better after.
I don't hate that.
The Pocket Galaxy.
This could be Pressure Plate, but it also could be Rat Trap.
Oh, have I played twice?
No, you haven't played twice. So you can play one, just don't play another one, unless the Pressure Plate goes off.
There we go.
Reduced. Good. But now we have to be conscious. Now we have a Ray of Frost a couple if we want to proc the trap and then freeze the rat.
Yeah, Sergeant Teabag says it could also be maybe a snake trap.
Could be snake, but honestly, we're not really worried about snake.
Right.
We're probably not going to do a lot of trading at this point. We're so far ahead. And Sergeant Teabag, good to see you, brother.
All right, there's the face hit, and there's his Ziliax. So he's just swapping that. He's just swapping health here.
So I'm tempted to go for the Spellkin and hope for Arcane Missiles to finish him off.
Okay, I like that because Arcane Missiles is likely that we'll get it. And we actually have two tries to go. Well, yeah, we have two tries.
Even if only one hits, we can hero power maybe.
Oh, well, we can kill it with the Ray of Frost.
Yeah, there you go.
We can kill it with the Ray of Frost, but also know we're going to proc the Rat Trap if it is Rat Trap.
Which we can then kill off with the Infiltrator.
5/4 and the hero power.
Yeah.
Or
and there it is.
Or
just freeze
a thought. Yeah, you could ignore it and
freeze it and go face.
Freeze it or play the mirror image, or not mirror image, but
yeah.
I like that. Ray of Frost, mirror image, ping face, and go face.
Or Ray of Frost, big ol' whelp.
We could do that. Yeah, either way.
There you go.
It clears my dragon proc for the mirror.
We draw into Blizzard, which means we can stall the board again next turn, setting up for lethal.
So many answers. Uranus.
Okay. It's fine.
It's fine.
Hating this. Ooh. Dragon Collar into Blizzard? Or you want a Yogg? You want a Yogg?
No, I'm thinking Dragon Collar into Blizzard.
Okay.
And then
Wait. We're not holding a dragon.
Oh, you're right. That's an activated one. You're right. So it's just plain Blizzard.
Yeah. So Blizzard mirror image ping face? Maybe?
I like it.
Sergeant Teabag says puzzle box YOLO.
We might be there next turn. Okay. I'd love to draw into Malagos. That's not Malagos. I mean, the safe play is the Frost Nova.
The fun play is the puzzle box YOLO.
The fun play, but that could lose us the game.
It very well could.
Let's go a little bit slower. We have time, right?
Do we just play the scale worm just to get something on the board?
Oh yeah, that way we can take out one or the other.
Something, yeah, yeah.
He still has one dragon, right? That's a 0 cost.
That's correct.
So the worry would be that would be the Twin Tyrant, and he would hit the Scale Worm.
Is it? Yeah, I guess it could be Twin Tyrant because it's random.
Right.
But I would think he would have played it last.
He would have used that to clear.
He would have gotten value.
Good point.
Phase Stalker, so he's gonna put some secrets on the board.
So this might be a puzzle box.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He's
Dreaming it
bringing.
back to his
Oh
hand.
my goodness!
Malagos.
Oh my
Okay.
Got a Malagos.
Why wouldn't he have played that last time? I wonder.
Maybe he was afraid we just had some way to clear the board.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. He should have played it before he played the Ysera. Maybe he missequenced. Well, we can Dragon Collar. We could actually
Color puzzle box.
we could
Witch
Fire
Doctor.
Witch Fire Tree Witch Doctor first to see if we get like a Blizzard or Frost
I
Nova,
like that.
and nothing. Probably the counter spell.
One, two. So the Flame
We're
Ward
not gonna be
only
able to play this
kills two minions currently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I say we just take the
Well,
Flame Ward for
but
now.
we can Blast Wave as well, which will
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
another one.
that's true.
Yeah, that's fair.
It kills all of my guys though, so then it all
But I
comes
th-
to
we're-
face is the problem.
We're gonna puzzle box this turn though, right? So
yeah.
it doesn't really matter.
Well, we'll
we gotta
take
snap
this
it, though.
just in case.
Here we go, ready for a show. This is a show. It's not a show, but that's a wipe. That's bad. That's okay. Not good. Yeah, I think this is it.
That's pretty.
Oh,
Three Yseras.
well. Well, we got a bunch of Yseras in our deck. Oh no,
Oh, so bad.
it's pretty bad.
Why is it all
Oh.
targeting my stuff?
It is.
Yikes.
Okay. He can push through, right? Oh well, maybe not. We actually the one damage to Imp gave us room for the noble sacrifice. Might be relevant.
Might be because we might be able to get close to drawing a big hand with the Blade West or with the Blast Wave.
I count 21. Oh, there it is. That's lethal.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Should have puzzle boxed the last turn. Felt disrespected.
All right. So
Good point, G-Bag.
We're 1-1.
One and
We're 1-1. So let's play game 3 and see if we can pull out the win.
Well,
But understandably, Hunter is one of the bad matchups for
It is. Yeah.
right.
this deck, so I think it was pretty good considering. We'll do one more game. How's that sound?
The
Sounds good to
the
me.
puzzle box felt disrespected. Yep.
Play it as early as we can. Got it. Keep it in hand even, or will it feel disrespected if we throw
Mike Lowe,
So-
that's good advice in all things, sir.
So I would normally throw everything back but the scale writer and hope that we get the get an activator. But part of me wants to keep the puzzle box with the scale writer, hoping we draw into. Well, we need an activator and that wouldn't work out. So I say just keep scale writer. There is merit to Ray of Frost.
Although Ray of Frost, if it's the OTK Paladin, doesn't really help because they're
true.
all small minions that will clear anyway. So that's a good point. We should probably toss it. Since I've only seen, I know that there's a Dragon Paladin that's been seen out in the wild, but I haven't run across
Yeah, like
it.
a Highlander Dragon Paladin.
Yep.
So this is the first sign that tells me it is a Holy Wrath Paladin.
Yeah.
So Dusharmo says Scale Rider, I think, is a very underrated card in this set. Essentially a better SI agent for Dragon decks.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, it's really, really good.
All right, we'll just keep this clear then for now. We have the activator though. Or I guess if it's OTK, then we do need to start pushing some damage early. So maybe Zephrys into an animal companion would be.
That's exactly what I was thinking, actually. And Zephrys isn't going to be easy for him to clear if he's running, if he's Holy Wrath Paladin. Not at this point.
Right.
I like the animal companion here. We don't need the ramp because the curve in our hand just is playing itself right now.
Right.
Okay,
Mex.
so this is not. This is Mex.
Mech Paladin.
And why didn't he... What? Oh, wait, they don't have Rush. That's right.
Okay.
So this is going to give us more value when we get our Blast Wave.
Right.
Do we just Scale Rider the claw
1/2?
down? And then go face?
I like that. They might clear one or the other, but not both, right?
I would think so. We might get some crazy value from rolling Fireball.
We might.
If he
That would be
develops
fun.
and goes face,
I don't see him doing that. I'm going to guess one will come face at most.
we could play the other claw.
Oh,
This is pure Paladin.
I need to give a shout out to Jilly before I missed your follow earlier. Thank you for the follow. We greatly appreciate it.
So I'm kind of thinking developing this by killing the Zealot and the Microcopter using Frostbolt and Hero Power.
I like that.
And then next turn we can maybe Cartoot Defender, assuming he comes face.
We can get Cartoon Defender, or we can Animal Companion Hero Power if we need to, depending what he develops on the board.
Have a few options. Always
we
good
do.
to have options.
Yeah.
Glowstone Technician.
See, this is what I'm talking about. The meta right now is very fluid, and I'm liking it.
And he
So I
didn't
don't
come
hate
face.
He didn't come face.
So
Do we coin Cartoot like we talked about, or do we maybe throw out the evasive to combat it? What do you
The
guys
evasive is
think?
going to take a face shot.
at least be
like-
for 5.
I like coining the Cartoot. The problem is I really would like to save the coin for 7 so we can twin Tyrant, because I think we're going to need it. So I don't hate the evasive Fey Wing here.
Okay. It's 5 more
'Cause
to
if-
face, right?
If we play the Cartoot, we're not getting nearly as much healing
Right.
because he didn't go
2.
face. I think this True Silver is going to be used to clear.
So you gonna buff it?
The +4 Divine Shield Taunt spell?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we polymorph that?
Actually, I was thinking we rolling Fireball to kill those 2, and then coin out the hero power to kill it, the reborn one.
Okay, yeah, I don't hate that. Yeah.
Just prevent all the healing in a different way.
I think he's
and get rid of
really
forward.
valuing his health, which is why he played that, because he thought he'd trade in, take some damage, and then get the health back.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Lowe has a question for Grumpy. He says, has he tried Wing Commander in any decks yet? And if so, what are your thoughts?
Wing Commander, which one is that? Why am I thinking Wing Commander is the Hunter power one, or the old school 80s game?
With voiced by Mark Hamill. I remember that.
Right?
And Wing Commander is the neutral, 4 mana, 2/5, has +2 attack for each dragon in your hand.
Ah.
I haven't tried it in this one, mostly because I ran out of space for it. It's one that was in some of the early, some of my early versions of the deck. But since I only have 9 dragons and some of them are pretty low cost, mostly for activations, then it hasn't stayed as big. And for 4 mana, I feel like the Polymorph was better. Scale Worm with the Rush was a little bit better. And of course, the 5 mana dragons.
Mike says he swapped it out in place of Twilight Drake and has had good. Says it's sick.
Yeah, you do end up with a pretty big hand here, so I can definitely see that being pretty sick.
I'm surprised he didn't magnetize the Glowtron with the Anoyo bot, but he's probably playing around Polymorph.
Right.
This is kind of a tough spot.
Yeah, I'm debating between just freezing and seeing what else comes out, or playing the Azure Explorer and seeing what we get from other dragons.
We could freeze and
again.
Azure. Well, the Cartoon Defender doesn't trade real well.
No,
but I mean,
I was thinking Frost.
It stops the damage.
Yeah, I was thinking Frost Nova Azure or Frost Nova Animal Companion. See what we get.
Yeah, I like the Azure first because there's some good dragons we could get, like Caligos.
We're 2 turns away from Caligos.
Well, yeah, but we have
turns.
We have
a
2 turns.
freeze.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't hate the Frost Nova here. There really wasn't any other good. That's kind of not a bad burn.
No, I'm happy with that.
Would like to have burned something better, like a Tyrion.
Oh yeah, I forget we're playing against the.
Pure,
what are you guys calling it? Pure
Paladin. Yeah, a lot of people. I think Dexter calls it Paladin.
Yeah, that's what I've heard it as.
A silly name.
It's absolutely silly.
It's ridiculous. Paladin. Of course, it's a Paladin.
All right. I think we've got to do that. 19.
I mean, we could get another Frost Nova.
And if we don't, then we can polymorph the 9/9.
Yeah.
To save the damage. It would be nice if it was reduced by Frizz so that we could also drop a Cartoot.
Yeah.
Malagos' Polymorph.
Well, yeah, there's a cheap Polymorph. We could actually Animal Companion with it and maybe get a Huffer.
I like it. If we get a Huffer, then we...
Nope.
Never mind.
He's going to get a Taunt, but honestly, that's not terrible.
At least it doesn't have Divine Shield, right?
Yeah.
You saw it called Racist Paladin, says Mike Lowe. Interesting.
Yeah, I have heard that one. Yeah, I've heard it called Hitler Paladin. I've heard some bad names that I wouldn't normally.
All right.
choose.
Well, I apologize to the viewers. We got
Oof.
close, but
That's all right.
thank you for
the
letting
pure
me
paladin-
play. I had a lot of fun.
Oh no, it's not about the results.
That's right.
If you can walk away from our play portion and have learned something new, that's all that we ask. And I definitely did. There's a couple interactions I wouldn't have thought of. I do like this deck, and I think it has legs. Just I got to figure out the best line for playing it.
Yeah, I think there's a few edits that might make it better, like taking out the Twin Tyrant in favor of a Flame Strike, or just drawing better too. Sometimes helps.
Yeah, that is the kind of bane of
that's
Highlander
pretty.
decks. Did you just open a legendary?
A golden legendary.
Ah, you're horrible.
Nice.
You're a horrible person.
Oh.
So now you have to build a deck around it. That's the challenge.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
Well, at least you opened a golden legendary on with GuyGrumpy, King of the Golden
Yeah.
Legends.
That's
Exactly.
right. Exactly. That's the whole
You have
reason
to have
I
both.
opened it. So, all right. Guy, why don't you tell them one more time where to find you before we wrap up tonight?
Sure thing. I'm GuyGrumpy on both Twitter and Twitch. You can find me streaming on Tuesday nights at 5:30 Pacific time, 10 p.m. Pacific time on Thursdays, and 1 p.m. Pacific time on Sundays, with some variants being noted in both Twitter and on my Twitch schedules panel. Thank you very much for having me on. I really enjoyed it. I love you guys. So much love. Appreciate you.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and hang out with us. We greatly appreciate it. And if you at home have any questions or comments about the show, or about the deck we played tonight, or just questions for GuyGrumpy himself, send them over to heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button below on YouTube, or give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted when we go live. For more details about our Patreon, you can check out patreon.com/heropower. Until next week, good gaming.
Bye, guys.